Guys, welcome back. I'm top music attorney Miss Krystle, and welcome to the Top Music Attorney podcast, the place where you're going to learn how to master the entertainment business and learn how to stay legally protected all at once every Tuesday and Friday night at 7 p.m. PST. So you guys know the deal. We are going to have a couple different segments of the show. We're broadcasting right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So as you are all starting to file in the chat, hello, be sure to say hi, drop a quick comment, let me know where you're checking in from. Are you excited for the weekend? And guys, I'm really excited for today's show. We have a ton of great news stories of what's going on in the entertainment business. Kanye's getting sued again, and we have Metallica kind of blowing up on the charts. So we're going to be covering it all today. But I do have a very special guest. I'm super excited. We're going to do a little interview, and this is going to be for our artist tip segment. She's an MVP in the music business, and I've been really excited to do this for a while. So we'll be getting to that in just a few minutes. Hi, guys. All right. Hello, everyone. All right, 9 p.m. Hi. Yeah, so we're looking forward to a very productive weekend. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, but on Instagram, Miss Krystle Instagram, we're about to hit 140,000 followers. Thank you for that. But we did our first live stream where I was like at the piano and singing and playing. And this is the first time I've done this in like a year. And I was super nervous because I've been working on my voice. I've been recovering from a not so great large section of being ill. And so as we were on the mend, this was a big step for me. So if you guys were on that, and you decided to come to the live stream tonight, thank you for being here. I love your faces. And we'll be doing it again, right? So we did some cover songs, we did some originals, and we'll be coming back on Thursday. So if you're not following for all the music stuff, you can come over to Miss Krystle on Instagram. And then I was teasing this a little bit on Tuesday's show, but it is that Orko's birthday tomorrow. Okay, so that Orko, our show producer, he'll be on for the news segment later on this evening, but we'll make a little bit of a fuss. You know, we got to make a fuss, and so you guys can give him a little extra love, and then it'll be the official start of birthday week. That's a thing. You get 7 days to just be a brat. I started it, so what are you going to do? Okay, so before we get to our interview, you know I love to do our segment, and I'm just going to touch on this really briefly. So on Tuesday's show, we always said something I'm trying to be superhuman this week. And so I was telling you guys that I started taking spirulina, which is like this green blue algae nonsense that you put, like you can do it as a powder. And so I've been putting that in my smoothies, and it's so good for you. So again, let me give you the sales pitch. All right, sales pitch, very high nutrients, iron, B vitamins. It has anti-cancer properties, super antioxidant, right? So it's like 10 times better than blueberries. So anyway, so I've been doing this nonsense now for like a week. I was into it already a couple of days on Tuesday, and it's gone pretty good. I feel kind of superhuman. I've been up for a long time. All right, you need to sleep, but I've been up for a long time. And I've just kind of felt that once I got through this little detox phase that was happening, apparently that's a thing when you take it, I'm feeling pretty good. So when it comes to just definitely muscle strength, endurance, trying to take care of cognitive function, right? So we need our brains to think, to do business. This is something that is interesting to me. So if you're interested, check out spirulina. It gets my vote of approval. All right, let's check that chat, and then we are going to jump into our interview. Virginia, thank you for being here. I appreciate you following. And guys, if you're watching right now on Facebook or LinkedIn, be sure to come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube. We are broadcasting everywhere, but this is our home hub. This is where we distribute all the individual videos after the live stream, and this is where we are building the community. Alrighty, so without further ado, in today's kind of artist tip segment, I'm going to be interviewing the chief executive troublemaker, Wendy Day. And Wendy Day has been in the music business for about 30 years, and she is such an MVP, and there's so many great resources. She has a book, How to Get a Record Deal. I mean, she's known for all kinds of insane deals that she's done, including Cash Money for like, a cool 30 million. So this is who we're going to be talking to. I'm going to bring her in right now. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, doing great. I appreciate your time being here. And
Oh, happy to be
understanding
here.
you're very busy. So we're gonna jump right into this. So one thing I just want to, I guess, clarify or talk about is that you started Rap Coalition, which is a nonprofit organization, and from what I understand, you kind of did that so you could help artists and rappers get out of bad
Yeah,
deals.
exactly. I started it in 1992 because I got tired of hearing the stories about my favorite artists getting unfairly taken advantage of. So that was really what started me in the industry.
So now let me ask you this. Have you gotten a bad rap at any point for being the rap coalition and you're the person that's going to go after the labels to deal with these bad deals? Has it impacted you in any way?
If it has, I don't know. Um, Nobody's ever really said it to my face. I've
Eh.
made the major labels a lot of money, especially Universal. So I can't imagine they would be upset. It's not like I'm going in and pulling Drake and Ed Sheeran off of labels. I'm pulling artists that aren't really doing very well off of labels because labels treat their stars well. It's the artists that aren't doing as well that are kind of in oppressive deals.
Yeah.
So if
And
they do
I
say bad stuff, I don't hear it.
Yeah, well, and I think obviously your work speaks for itself. I think that you can be someone who advocates strongly for who you're representing, but at the end of the day, we shake hands and we're done with it, right? If we're
Yeah,
professionals. So,
yeah.
so then on the flip side, right? So you have Power Moves, which my understanding is that's the
Mhm.
for-profit side. So
Correct.
now I'm gonna hire you. Now, do you have a minimum? Does it take me $250,000 to hire you to
It
represent me?
does.
What does that look
It
like?
does. It That's the all-in budget. It takes $150,000 for me to be able to break an artist to the point where they're starting to make money. And then our company charges $100,000 fee for doing that. So it's really a $250,000 all in. Obviously, it's not for everybody. We work with artists that have investors, and we work with artists that already have careers and want to start their own labels. But artists that don't have money, we really can't help them, not because we don't want to, because we're just not able to. And that's why I give away so much free information about what we do, because I feel like just because you don't have money doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to grow a career.
100%. Okay, so let's talk about that. It takes, let's say, 150,000 if you aren't hiring Wendy Day, the professional, but if you're doing it by yourself as an independent artist, that $150,000, what does that go to or what should it go to?
It should go to all types of marketing and promotion. It should go to shooting videos. Most of it should go to content. Content is so important today. We test songs before we put them out. So part of that budget on our side when we're working for artists goes to testing music. It goes to influencer marketing, digital marketing, social media marketing, promotional tours. If the artist has the ability to go to radio, we'll go to radio with the artist. Of course, we do that last, and that's
Right.
only if the artist has a radio song and that's their market. But basically, what we do is we help artists find their market and target those folks, find as many potential fans for them as possible, and turn them into rabid fans. And we've been doing that for almost 30 years now.
So as far as testing content, you were talking about that. So, something that I think I learned, early in my career in marketing, just for myself, which didn't happen so many late, years into my career, but learning Facebook ads, right? So anyone can do it, right? Even on
Yeah.
YouTube, it's free. But it doesn't mean if you go and get an investor with $100,000, you're just going to dump it into ads. You're saying, hey,
No.
let's actually test and figure out what content works.
Yes. Yes. I'm talking about songs and content. Let's test 5 songs, and we'll still put out all 5 songs, but let's test them and see which ones are going to do the best. So, song 2 and 4 might get the best reaction. So, I'm going to put 60% of a budget behind those 2 songs, and then 40% of the budget behind the remaining 3.
Now, I don't know if you've experienced this, but in recent months, and I would say over the last year, I personally had issues with Facebook when I'm running the ads and pulling traffic off Facebook to Spotify. So what's your workaround? What do you recommend for
We
artists?
don't we don't we don't drive artists to Spotify. We test with videos on Facebook, and we test the
Okay.
community at Facebook. We target the community that's going to react to the artist directly. In the past, we have done Google ads. They don't work as well as Facebook and Instagram ads.
I
That's
agree.
really our focus. But then, in fairness, we work with mostly rap artists. That's kind of our lane.
One, and I don't know if you agree with this, but one marketing person had said to me the workaround is you want to drive people to go and search on YouTube, right? So don't have it go to YouTube, don't have it go to Spotify. If they like the content, them putting in the algorithm and searching your name is going to help you as far as generating traffic and search results. And so that's a very positive net thing that comes out of Facebook ads, for example.
Absolutely, but we don't do that in terms of testing. I'm talking about testing the music at first, but when we
Okay.
do run Facebook ads to drive fans to the artist, yes, we'll do that. We'll do swipe ups, we'll do a bunch of different things. We test a lot of stuff. We keep what works, we get rid of what doesn't, and our motto is to fail faster. So we want to know what's working as quickly as possible, and then we just do more of that.
Love it. All right, so you've said you got to give up a lot to win in this industry. What do independent artists need to give up or be ready to give up in order to be successful in the music business?
I almost want to say everything, but that sounds a little bit negative. So you've got to be willing to outwork everybody. You've got to be willing to put in the time and the effort to really stand out. Like, to be really honest with you, making music is a full-time job. Promoting music is a full-time job. Social media is a full-time job. Performing is a full-time job. So when you're an artist, you have multiple jobs, and you've got to be as great as you possibly can at each one. So you've got to have really great music. You've got to have an amazing work ethic. You've got to really be able to stand out from everybody else. You've got to be able to outwork everybody else. And you also need to have a budget. Sadly, this is not a free industry.
And what's your answer when an artist says, okay, well, I don't have a marketing person, I don't have a booking agent? What's your answer to them?
Well, if you don't find somebody to do that job, you're going to have to do that job yourself. And it is possible. You're just going to have to learn it as quickly as possible and be as good as you possibly can. But I just feel like if you're really talented and you've got a team of people around you, find people that can help you that are good at possibly that job and have them learn how to do that. If you've got somebody that's really tech savvy, why not have them learn how to run ads and help you?
Yeah, and that's, this whole idea that if I just get signed to a record label, they'll make me a big star because they know how to do things. And my question is, why can't you learn how to do those things? Why can't you be your own label? And so that's my challenge to independent artists because I think you and I are on the same page. I advocate very much for staying independent, doing it
Yes,
yourself, and then
yes.
strategically, if it makes sense to do a deal with a label at some point, great. Don't sign too
Well, when
early
you have leverage. Yeah.
when you have leverage.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
A basic deal when you're a brand new artist really sucks. And you're going to
Right.
sit at that label and end up doing the work yourself anyway, because they're not going to have incentive to really get behind you when you're brand new. So even if you sign to a label, you're going to really be doing the work that you would be doing if you were independent. So you might as well stay independent, keep 100% of the ownership until you're in a leveraged position where you can really negotiate a financially lucrative deal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also just say if you're looking for someone to do it for you, whether it's a record label or you hire someone, right? Because lots of people say,
Right.
"Pay me $5,000, I'll do this thing for you." When you're done with that, when you're done with the relationship with the record label, you still don't know shit. You're back to ground zero. So you should be
Exactly.
learning.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you learn how it works, not only can you utilize that for yourself, but at some point you can sign other artists and become effective in helping them grow their careers, and you can make money together.
100%. Okay, so then let's talk about where the value is in being an artist, right? So we know the traditional record label deal, you sign, the label owns your masters. When it comes to publishing, I know you have said try to keep your publishing 100% if possible. Explain why that matters.
Because when you have ownership, first of all, you're going to make the lion's share of the money, but you also have control over the music. So if you're somebody that doesn't want your music to appear in a condom commercial, for example, you have the control over that because you own the publishing. You own the rights to be able to say, no, I don't want my music to appear in that movie or on that TV show, or I don't want to promote alcohol, or whatever your belief system is. You have more control over your music.
Justin Timberlake just did a deal with Hypnosis, and they purchased his publishing rights for $100 million. So there's also a potential big payday if you hold on to those rights.
Yes. Yep.
So
Ryan, right now
it's
selling like around 20 times value, isn't it?
Yeah, so I stalking on Hypnosis and how they do it. So they're like, our typical multiple is 12 to 14, but we'll go up to 22. We will go up to 22 for the bigger artists.
Amazing.
So yeah, no, very interesting. So Ryan on YouTube, he had a question. He goes, or I guess a statement. I have friends in the music industry got screwed. They mostly got written off as a write-off for the company, and also their identity had to start over. So on the identity part, how often do you see labels trying to take the trademark ownership of the artist's name, the band name? Do you see that very often?
I don't anymore. In the early days of hip hop, I saw that all the time. I know Akon does not own his name, but other than him, I can't think of another example of an artist that doesn't have ownership of their own name, their own trademark. But I do know that it happens.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that very rarely these days. Okay, so you use this beautiful analogy. I'm gonna just destroy it, but I'm gonna try to do it. So you said and put basically the record label as a cruise ship. You said the record label's like a cruise ship. You're going along slowly, but it's big and beautiful and robust and all this. But the independent artist is like having a jet ski, right? So there are two different things and aspects of going at this. And I say, I'm not here to villainize record labels. I do deals with the majors every day. But I advocate for independence. So for you, what's the difference? Why is it okay to sign with a record label?
Because there are some instances where they can be really helpful. Like, what if you're an artist who has zero entrepreneurial skills and you really need a label to get you out there? Or what if you're an artist that makes incredible radio records, but you can't find an investor? And we know that to take a song at urban radio to #1, you're going to spend anywhere from $125,000 to $150,000 for one song. So if you don't have an investor, but you're making radio music, you're probably going to need a major label. So they're not evil and terrible, and you should never do business with them. They have a point. They have a reason. It's just, if you're going to do a deal with one, you should really build leverage so that you're doing some sort of a joint venture with them, as opposed to signing to the typical standard 12 to 15% artist deal, which just
absolutely sucks. With now what we don't call a 360, but the ancillary rights to collect revenues. And so I know you had said in an interview, you were talking about how you just stopped doing deals for a long time because you were really pissed about the 360. So explain for those who don't know, what's a 360 deal?
A 360 deal is when labels started to lose money because of MP3s, and in order to make more revenue, they started to take bigger pieces of the pie from recording artists. So in a deal, they would take a percentage of ancillary income, which would be the show income. If the artist were to get a movie deal or book rights, they would want to take a percentage of that. My complaint was that they weren't helping them land those types of deals. They were just taking a percentage of something that they had nothing to do with. And of course, the labels argued, well, we're putting money into building the artist to be a star. We should share in all aspects. But the artist makes the smallest piece of the pie to begin with, and they're the last to get paid. So I have a tremendous issue with somebody trying to eat off of an artist when they're not even putting in work to get them those ancillary types of deals.
So having represented, and worked with labels yourself, right, on behalf of the artist or otherwise, do you at least understand from the viewpoint now and understanding that the money doesn't really come in from the streaming, right? The big money
Right.
comes in from the tours and the merchandise.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
So what's your position now?
With the artists that come to us, they have to do ancillary deals with their investors in order for the money to come in strongly enough for the investor to recoup their investment. So I definitely see splits, but as soon as the money starts coming in a large way, the deal needs to be renegotiated so that the artist gets a larger share of the income. They can't always be the one to take the short. Money does not have more value than the art form.
Love that. Okay, so let's talk really fast about the investment deals. So when you do the investor deals, are you setting up maybe new LLCs, for this particular
Yes.
venture, and they're becoming
Yes.
members? Is that kind of what you're doing?
Yes. Well, it depends on the deal. I mean, there's some investors that only want a portion of the first release or the first year or the first 2 years. And then there are investors at the other extreme that want 50% of the artist in perpetuity. Well, not in perpetuity, but for a long period of time, however long
Right.
that is, 5 years, 7 years, whatever. So you don't necessarily get what's fair. You get what you negotiate. And it also depends on how much leverage you have. If you're an artist that's able to stream a lot and you're getting paid shows very early and you're going viral on TikTok all the time, it's going to be much easier to find an investor than if nobody's heard of you and you put out music and you get 12 streams or 12 views or 12 of anything.
Right. So for the artists, rappers watching this right now, a question might be, okay, I'd love an investor. How do I get an investor? And what do you, tell your clients, or what do they do?
Well, when people come to me, they've already got investors in place, but it's probably that and how do I get a record deal are the two most popular questions that I'm asked. And my advice for finding an investor is put out your music, but also put out a business plan. Tell everybody in your circle that you're looking for an investor. You can't be silent and find somebody. It's not going to work. So you can start going to Chamber of Commerce meetings. You can join the Rotary Club. You can go places where there are people that have money hang out and let people see your movement. Let them see your devotion and how hard you're working, because people invest in things where they know they're going to make a return on that investment. If they think that they're going to give you money and they're never going to get it back, it's going to be really hard to find an investor.
Oh, and I love that you're like Rotary, what is it? Not Kiwanis.
Chamber
Is
of
it
Commerce.
Kiwanis? Yeah, so any
Anywhere
of these
where people that have money go to hang out. And of course, the biggest one, the place where most of my clients find money is by telling everybody in their world that they're looking for an investor. And inevitably, somebody will be somewhere and someone will say to them, hey, I'm starting a record label or I'm looking for an artist to invest in. And that person goes, wait, I know somebody. Who was it that just said to me, that they're looking for an investor? Oh, yeah, it was, little JoJo down the block. That's really the best way to find money, is through your network, because when people know you and love you, they usually trust you. And when there's a level of trust, it makes it very easy for people to matchmake.
Yeah, and I found too that people outside the entertainment industry, the investors, sometimes just want to get in because of the novelty, the excitement.
Yeah,
they want the backstage.
Yes.
They want to be on the music video sets, and that's all they care about. They're like, okay, here's a quick 50. I don't care. Just invite me.
I'd rather have that. I'd rather have somebody from outside of music, because somebody in music is going to want 50% of everything. And their idea of recouping is based on a very old, archaic model. Somebody outside of music is probably going to do a little bit of a better deal with an artist, especially if they have a VC background.
Yes, VC being venture capitalism.
Venture capitalists.
Yeah. So Brian, on YouTube, I read that lots of signed artists are complaining because they have to keep their social media feeds fresh themselves. So I agree. Can you do it for yourself? So we covered
Yeah.
recently, Halsey was very upset because the label was withholding her song until she had a viral moment on
Right.
TikTok.
Which made her go viral.
Well, no, and that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, all right, there it goes. Right, she's getting all the press now.
Exactly.
And then they release the song a week later. Now, when you're
Yes.
talking and having the hard conversation with your artists who don't want to do social media, what do you say?
Well, two things. We have a firm that we can hire for someone that has a budget to pay somebody for social media, but it's the most basic and simplest thing that you can do for yourself. Yes, it's very much a full-time job because it's a lot of work to stay on top of your social media, but nobody can interact with your fans the way that you can. And certainly in filming content, you've got to do it yourself. I can't film content for you. Only you can film content. I can film you making content, but I can't film me making content for you. So you're going to have to, at some point, accept the fact. I call it living out loud. You're going to have to accept the fact that you're going to have to go live on your social media. You're going to have to explain your lifestyle. You're going to have to talk about why you made songs. People want to know who the artist is. And if people get to know you and feel a connection, they will really love you and they will really cut for you. And that's what you want. You want rabid fans. They want to know where you're from. How did you grow up? What kind of student were you? What were you thinking when you made this song? How do you choose your tracks? They really want to be part of the process. So why not live out loud on your social media and let them see the process? Let them see who you really are. Be authentic.
Yeah, and take, I guess, your feelings out of the equation. That's something I had to do
It's
because,
hard.
as part of my life, right? So I am an independent artist myself, but I'm also a lawyer, and I didn't like talking about being an attorney, but as soon as I finally
Right.
took my feelings out of it, I'm like, maybe this is entertaining. Maybe people
It
can just get to
is.
know me. All of a sudden, I
Yes.
grew by like 50,000 followers in 2 months, so there's
Right.
value in just putting yourself
There
out
is
there.
value. And I acknowledge that it's hard because most people aren't this open. Most people don't want to, talk about themselves ad nauseum, but you really have to. It's like making a friend. If you don't talk to people and let them in and be a little vulnerable and show them who you are, you're not going to make friends like in real life. And social media is basically an offshoot of that. It's like you're making friends through a screen, and you've got to be you, and you've got to let people in, and you've got to let them see who you are, as hard as that is. And I know it's
And
hard.
you never know what's going to hit someone in the right place. So meaning just because something
Correct.
isn't like a viral piece of content, something might go deep for someone because you shared a story. Right? So it only
Absolutely.
reached 200 people, but 100 of those people are like diehard fans now.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where you make the money. You make money from the people that rock with you, the ones that'll come to your shows and buy your merchandise, the ones that will share you with their friends and sort of be your cheerleader and talk about you to groups of people and say, "Wow, I really love this artist and here's why." You need that.
So I get a lot of calls when it comes to Krystle, I need to get out of my record label contract, right? I want to terminate. Big call, not just for record label deals, right? So management contracts, you name it. They want to get out. So I'm
Yes.
sure you get those calls. Talk to me about that. What do you do when you get the call?
And it really depends on who they're signed to and what they've signed. It's so much easier to be proactive and stop someone from signing a bad deal than it is to break a deal. Because breaking a deal is like a divorce. It's very difficult. It drains your energy and no one wins. You don't win, the label doesn't win, no one wins. So I'd rather prevent somebody from getting into a messed up deal than break a contract. But if I have to do it, if they're signed to, Joe Bag of Donuts records down the street where I can't get somebody to take my call, I'm never going to be able to break that deal. But if they're signed to a major label, then it becomes more of a negotiation as to, this person's not happy. You're not happy with them. they're not making any money, you're not making any money. Rather than have these terrible bad feelings all the way around, let's figure out what makes sense for you to let them go. And normally labels understand that. If you're Drake or Rihanna or Ed Sheeran and you just want to leave and you don't have a reason, they're not going to let you go because you're too profitable. But if you're an artist that's really disgruntled and you're not making money, they're not making money, and you're just on your social media bitching and moaning about the label, there's incentive for them to get rid of you because they just don't want that negative energy. Nobody does. It's toxic.
Snow, the product, she was signed with a major, and then they ended up letting her go. Okay, so she said this in an interview. She's like, yeah, let's try it, and we'll see how it goes. And then came back together. The record didn't take off, and so they let her just voluntarily out of the contract, which for me is unheard of.
That's surprising. Right? Yeah, that's surprising.
And then she went, and this is why labels don't let you out the contract, because she went and released something else, and she blew up. So they lost their investment. So which is why I more commonly see the artists just get shelved. The label's like, I don't know what to do with you now. Maybe you'll have a TikTok viral moment and we'll circle back with you in a year.
I would rather the label take a percentage going forward than to just shelve somebody. Because if you're shelved, you have no budget, you have no energy, you have no motivation. At least if they let you go and say, okay, you can go, but we want 10% or 5% or whatever percent of the money that you make going forward, that seems to make more sense. It seems more fair to me somehow. I don't love it, but
yeah, I mean, look, the way I kind of go through, I'm like, let's look at the contract. Have there been material breaches? Can we make some kind of claim to terminate it? If not, kind of my last Hail Mary, other than, hey, can we negotiate a buyout of some kind? The artist usually doesn't have money to pay it, even if there was a number.
Correct.
But the last Hail Mary is always just something simple, like, if it's like a mid-tier or small label, have they complied with formalities, like actually forming their company, right? Because from a legal standpoint, if they're like, I signed it as the LLC, and they're not a real company, we technically have an argument to void the contract and say, it wasn't a real one to begin with, because you lied. So, but it's very tricky. And so I totally agree with what you said.
It's difficult. Yeah.
You want to negotiate it up front and have the protection. So let's talk about entertainment attorneys. Do you need them?
Oh, God, yes. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've done some amazing deals, and I don't do it without an attorney. You absolutely need an attorney, not just for what's in the contract, but sometimes for what's missing. What's missing can actually hurt you more than what's there. Yeah, absolutely you need. And it has to be an entertainment attorney. It can't be a real estate attorney. It can't be your cousin Bob, who's a criminal attorney or a corporate attorney. It has to be an entertainment attorney, because this is so nuanced and unique and different from every other industry out there that you absolutely need somebody that specializes in this.
Yeah, and even once you find an entertainment attorney, you still need to make sure it's a good fit, right? Is there rapport between you? Are you having good communication? But then, is that attorney on the ground floor doing it right? Because I've also met entertainment attorneys who did it 30 years ago, and they're not really practicing anymore. So they don't know the changes in the industry. They don't understand social media. So you can still get into trouble, even with an entertainment attorney.
Agreed. And then there's entertainment attorneys that really just want the fee, and they don't care if the deal is right for the artist or not. They're just going to close the deal because they want their, financial remuneration from the deal. So you do have to be very careful. There has to be a level of trust, and you need a reputable entertainment attorney. The labels out here all know who the scumbags are, and if you're represented by a scumbag, you're probably going to get a shitty deal.
I think it was Migos suing because they got the attorney that was recommended by the label, found out way later, out of their shitty record label deal, that it was the label's attorney as well. Right?
Absolutely. So I'd say 90% of the deals that I've broken in this industry, that is the situation. The artist signs to a label, they don't get their own attorney, they take the advice of the attorney that is representing the other side, and they just sign because they want the signing bonus, or they want the advance, or they're not thinking about what's at stake, or they trust the label because they feel like a family.
Yeah, no, never a better investment than getting an attorney. And guys, as an entertainment attorney myself, right, in my own career, I represent myself most of the time on most things. On big deals, I am still getting a separate counsel. I'm getting separate eyes.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
And you've been in the industry. I know these contracts. I know you can read this like an attorney.
Backwards. If I can break a contract, I can certainly write a contract, but I never would.
Yeah.
I'm smart enough to let smarter people than me do the heavy lifting.
So Brian on LinkedIn, he had a question just as far as Wendy. So do you call yourself a consultant?
Yes.
I know you're not obvious. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'm not an attorney.
Yes, not an attorney. But as far as artist manager, consultant / many.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I don't enjoy managing. It's a thankless job. For me it was babysitting, so I stopped doing it as quickly as I could.
Now, someone had a good question. Let me just see if I can find it really fast. So they were asking, as far as in your experience, let me go. So Miss Winston, this is from, Winston, Miss Day, what was your most memorable deal when you were a part of, and what was the worst experience?
I'm assuming you're asking me the two opposites, that it's
Yes.
not the worst experience of my most memorable deal. Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a toss-up between Eminem and Cash Money. I'm going to pick Cash Money. So Cash Money was memorable because it was just a deal that didn't make sense. And the whole time we were negotiating it, and they were giving us more and more and more because we were asking for more and more and more. The whole time I'm like, okay, I'm asking for more and they're giving it to me. This doesn't make sense. And it taught me that market share really matters to the major labels. And that was one of the reasons that they did the Cash Money deals, because Cash Money was dropping music so quickly and so often that Universal wanted that for the pipeline, that the value of the market share meant more to them than the talent of the artist. Not to say they weren't talented, because they were. That was probably my most memorable deal. My most disappointing deal, probably I'd have to say it was Trick Trick at Motown. He was a friend of Eminem. Eminem called me and asked me to negotiate Trick Trick's deal there. Not there, but negotiate his deal. I agreed to do it. Sylvia Rhone was the head of Motown at the time. She wanted to be in the Eminem game, but Eminem was signed to another label, and Trick Trick and M were just friends. So it wasn't like M could appear on every song that Trick Trick put out. She got behind the first song, which featured Eminem, and then lost interest after that. And that was really disappointing. I've probably done somewhere around 20 deals in my career. Only 2 of them haven't worked, and both of them were with the same person that we chose to sign with. And that's just really disappointing.
I understand. On the Motown, it's funny. For whatever reason lately, my office keeps getting fake Motown contracts from artists who are like, Motown wants to sign me, and it's like 1.5 pages of someone pretending to be.
Isn't that
label.
Crazy? Like how many scams there are out here, and it's amazing to me that with all the information out here, people still fall for it. It'll be like Motown ANR304@gmail.com,
Right.
and here Motown wants to sign me. It's like, no.
No, and I'm like, look, at this point, I'm not your attorney. You're just calling my office, but I can tell you it looks a little suspect. If you want to pay me, you can, but I don't want to waste your time or money. This doesn't look
Exactly.
All right, so let's do 2 more questions. I'm going to let you go.
Sure.
So number 1, when it comes to artists, let's go back to the beginning, right? We said you have to do the work. You have to give up a lot to be successful in this industry. So when it comes to going to school for yourself as an artist, I know you have resources, you have a book. You guys can go to wendyday.com, and that's kind of a hub where you can find all of her great stuff. But where do you think artists should start? Do they need to start an LLC and get their legal contracts, or do they need to learn their marketing first? What's at the top of the hierarchy?
I think they need to learn how this works, because it doesn't make sense to go in and set up an LLC and spend that money if once you do the research, you realize that this isn't for you. I would learn, basketball players don't get on the court without knowing how to play the game. And I think artists really need to do some preliminary research and see if this is for you, because it's a business. It's no longer just making music because you love it. I wish it were, but it's not. It's a business. So a lot of the joy is now turned to promotion and marketing instead of, oh my God, I made this song and I love it and I'm just going to share it with the world. That doesn't exist anymore. So you may move forward and realize, you know what, this isn't what I thought it was. And I would hate for you to make that realization or have that realization after you've spent a shit ton of money. So I would do a little bit of research first. That research will tell you what you need to do and in what order you need to do it, and then pull the trigger and just start moving forward and start working and building your own fan base. Because whether you want a record deal or whether you want to stay independent and make the lion's share of the money yourself, it's the same process. You've got to build a fan base. Labels will not sign an artist that isn't wanted and isn't buzzing a little bit, at least in their region. And I don't mean locally in their state or their city. They want an artist that's buzzing regionally and online. So if you want to be successful at this, it's kind of the same path either way, whether you want to sign or stay independent.
No, 100%. And, for me, obviously being the entertainment attorney and just seeing, I'm always on the other side of it where I see all the problems, right? So often we aren't
Right.
doing the prevention and building the legal framework and getting the contracts. We're dealing with the problems. And so I'm kind of at this place, and that's why I started this channel, right? It's to have a free outlet, but I'm like giving away contracts that are like, you know how expensive contracts can be when you hire a law firm, but I'm at a point where I just want artists to have, if you're gonna, license a beat, have a license agreement, right? So something simple. And there's I think an intimidation factor to just having a contract, because they're like, what if they don't want to do the contract or I seem difficult? So how often do you advise your clients to be like, no, we absolutely need to get contracts for these collaborations, these features?
You need contracts for everything because you can't put music out if you don't have the right. So if you don't have a deal with the producer that allows you to put that song out and make money and promote it, you can't. So you could just throw it out there, but then that person has the right to stop you or to sue you afterwards because you didn't gain the contractual rights to use that beat or that feature or whatever is on your song.
100%. All right, last question. If you were not in, or having a career in the music business wasn't possible, what else would you be doing?
Ooh, I don't really know the answer to that. That's a great question. I can't imagine. I am so addicted to this. I can't imagine doing anything else. I love tech, so I guess I'd probably be working in tech. I'd probably start an advocacy organization called Tech Coalition, and then I'd probably start a for-profit organization called Tech Moves to keep tech designers independent and selling their I don't know, I'm making this up as I go, right? I can't imagine not doing this. Like, even at my lowest moments where things went horribly wrong, there was never a time where I said, maybe I'll do something else. For 30 years, this is all I've ever wanted to do. So I can't imagine doing anything else.
No, it's absolutely a curse.
I'm sorry, that's a shitty answer, but it's true.
No, but that goes to just you. It's in your nature. And I'd say this, as far as just my passion for music, I became an attorney because I wanted to actually go to school for myself, to represent myself in my own career. That. And then I was like, I could actually help people. So let's just do this,
That's
so I
awesome.
do both.
Yeah,
but it's
so amazing.
There's nothing more difficult than trying to have a successful music career. Hands down.
It's so much work, but let me tell you the flip side of it, that it's worth it. I've seen artists that are regional that are making $50,000 a month just in streaming. I've seen artists become multimillionaires doing this, and I've seen artists change the world doing this. So whatever you're in this for, whether it's just to feed yourself and your family, or whether you want to become an international star, or whether you just want people to hear your thoughts and your ideas, all of the work is worth it. Just learn how to do it so that you don't lose any money and any energy and time, because you have a very short window as an artist to be successful. The older
100%.
you get, the harder this is. The less fans you're going to reach.
100%.
So fail fast.
I love it. Wendy, thank you so much for coming on the show, guys. Like I said, go to wendyday.com, her at Rap Coalition on Instagram. Anywhere else you want people to go to follow you?
wendyday.com is the best place to start. And there's free videos, a ton of how-to stuff. I've got a podcast called The Cheat Code. There are so many places you can go to get free information. And, you know, I got to tell you, I love that you're doing this. I know you're not really making money doing this. And I just love your commitment to helping people. And thank you.
Thank you. And I can't wait to have you on the show again whenever that time is. So we will see you then.
Happy to
Thank
do
you,
it whenever you
Wendy.
need me. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye. All right, guys. Woo! That was a great interview. She's fantastic and even better than I thought that would go. So many amazing nuggets. You guys are like pros now about the music business. And I'm so very grateful that she did this. So we're going to be bringing in that Orko. We have our newsy segments. Like I said, we have great things going on with Metallica and Kanye, and we even have lawsuits against Pandora. And this is kind of an interesting topic as it relates to publishing rights. It's a very unique kind of thing that we're going to be talking about. So I'm excited. We're going to bring in that Orko right now. Hello.
Wow. What a great interview. There were so many gems in that. I cannot wait to re-upload the interview section of this with chapters in there. So if you happen to miss this great interview with Wendy Day, we'll be able to have it in nice little sections. I was learning so much. There were so many things that she touched on that I just thought were so just right on the money, and that has got to be one of the most crucial interviews that we've ever done on this channel for any
she's
artist.
Great. She's great. I'm so excited. So, guys, we're gonna switch up the formatting. Like, first of all, I forgot to run the intro because
We were too excited. We were just too excited.
I was too excited to get into it. But we're gonna switch one thing. So the last
I was
couple of shows,
I was trying not to gush in the pre-interview.
yeah, right. Right. So in any case, we're gonna switch one more thing before we get to the news segment. By request, you guys were asking that we do the music video that we've been running at the end of the show a little bit earlier in the stream. So we're just gonna try it, and I think we're doing "Dangerous Daughters," the piano version. Is that right?
Yes, there was a really nice response from that. Last week we actually saw an uptick in the video again because you guys were watching it back on the Miss Krystle YouTube channel, so we saw those analytics go up too. So we're going to play it again. And then, of course, we're going to still feature our end of the stream music video. This week, we're going to be doing Miss Krystle's version of the Deftones Entombed, which is one of my favoriteest covers ever. I'm really excited for this. This one also came by special request. So, yeah, let's run it. Let's run the...
Just run it. And we'll be right back, guys. So stay tuned.
All kinds of news.
We'll be in the chat.
I woke up from your rage, smack that beautiful medicine. Blood spills from my face, love my beautiful punishment. You know just how much I can take, so don't worry about it. Your love is driving through the pain. less unlearned in faith. Trust when I don't know what I'm doing. I stepped out from my cage and I don't know where I'm going. I never feel like I am safe. I don't think about it. I never feel like you were safe. Have faith about it. Little girls grow up as dangerous daughters. Don't blame me, just blame my father. Little girls grow up as dangerous daughters. Don't blame me, just blame my father. You let me down when I need love. You let me down. You let me down when I need love. You let me down. Lighting my life, lighting my life, lighting my life, lighting my life. Lighting my life, lighting my life, lighting my life, lighting my
Yeah.
Hey now. All right, all right.
Yes.
There we
That
go.
was
So you guys
that was a fun music video, and the original version of that song is very different from that version. You can check the original version of the song as well as the music video on Miss Krystle's YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that as well.
Ooh, weekend the happy birthdays. All right, so
Oh,
let's
that's right.
let's take a moment to fuss that Orko. It's his birthday tomorrow, so we're gonna be starting birthday week tomorrow. That means he gets to be a brat and demand whatever he wants for a week. That's
I'll
what
be
we
doing some
do.
demanding. There'll be some demanding.
Oh, so glad that you guys like this song. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so we'll be getting to more. We have another video coming at the end, but let's just jump into
do
our
it.
news segment. So first up, Metallica and Stranger Things up by 400%, and they have a viral TikTok. So let's talk about what's going on and why that is.
It's the power of Stranger Things. It's the power of placements. We love talking about placements on this channel. Kate Bush has set 3, UK Guinness Book World Records for her placement in Stranger Things. And as soon as I saw, spoilers are going to be all on this, so you might as well just tune out. Like I'm going for it. If you haven't seen it yet, just tune out. Come back like in 3 minutes. Yeah, no, I mean the legendary Eddie Munson scene where he is performing Master of Puppets in the Upside Down, and it is an incredible placement. And as soon as I heard the first 2 licks of the guitar riff, I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
you know,
I was like,
He called
here
it
we
out.
go. I was like, watch. I was like, these sales. I was like, and I said, I don't know if it's gonna quite match Kate Bush's numbers as far or as the impact, but you also have to remember that Kate Bush has had, just about every episode.
Yeah,
Since
no,
episode
the
1
reference,
has
I've been
featured.
counting them. We're at like six either at hearing the song or a reference specifically to Kate Bush. But anyway, so they're doing fine. One placement on a major TV show can change the career of a unknown artist, but Metallica is not unknown. So that's why, of course, we have a whole new audience of people who are now becoming maybe aware.
And the problem with that is there's all these kind of music gatekeepers that are out there that are just Metallica is my band, and I hate when people come along and they listen to my band because of some placement. You didn't know about Metallica in 1987 when I did, and it's so cheesy. Like, I'm so tired of musical band artists gatekeeping. Like, this is such a fantastic opportunity for Metallica to be introduced into,
And they embraced it too, right?
And
So they're
they-
not just sitting on the sidelines and not.
No,
they're
absolutely.
getting on TikTok.
They loved it. Let me pull this up here. If you want to pull,
Which
it
is good,
up.
and I almost wish that Kate Bush would have done this. So they did a
Yes.
TikTok.
They
You
did a
go, side by
TikTok.
side.
where they are playing along with the placement. They love the placement. They left a statement on their social media saying that, we love that people are coming from Stranger Things. They'll listen to the rest of the catalog because if they like Master of Puppets, which is a fantastic, phenomenal song. You know what I mean? They're probably going to get into the Metallica
He's all wearing
catalog.
sandals. Look at their sandals.
I mean, I'm telling you, like, this is so awesome. Like, this is so
Yeah.
awesome. And, Metallica has gone through this before a few times. I remember when the Metallica Black album came out, there was a lot of, you sold out because you're writing more mainstreamy songs and the whole Inner Sandman and all that stuff. That record was phenomenal. And if you say that, oh, I hate the Black album, like, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to everyone else. And then, of course, when they got their haircuts, there was a lot of, backlash on the fact that they got, shorter haircuts and they cut all their long hair.
Yep.
I mean, they've gone through a lot of controversy, but this is fantastic. I'm excited when any artist gets anybody to the party. I mean, Kate Bush has made $2 million off her placement.
That's
I think she's
2.3 million. Okay.
2.3 million.
Yes.
And I'm sure she's fine with everybody going, oh my God, I love your Running Up That Hill song that you did in '85. Like, she has no problem with it. So this is fantastic for everybody involved. And I love that Metallica is also calling out these gatekeepers in music. Don't be an artist gatekeeper. Support your artists. It's like, what do you want them to not have success, to not get placements, to not go viral so they can't make money? I mean, come on. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. Kanye West, another lawsuit. This time he's being sued because he rented a bunch of very high-priced fashion pieces. We're going to show you guys some of what he rented, and then he didn't pay. So I guess they're seeking around $400,000. And this was kind of odd because he's worked with this company since I think it was 2013. It's been a hot minute that he's been working with this company and renting pieces. And so they go, we've had a good relationship with him. And then sometimes, pieces might go missing here and there, but obviously he gets billed, he pays for them. But apparently someone stopped doing the bookkeeping.
No, and I'll pull up some of the pieces that are in question. Everything's all nicely cataloged. And the thing about this, I was thinking about it. They're when they come up with missing pieces. I mean, these are just pieces that just continuously earn more value, I would imagine, based on who is rendering. So, if Kanye West was the last person to rent it, some of these items or whatever, the value of that's going to go up. So it's kind of probably really hard to even put a price on some of these things when they do become damaged, because they have to put some kind of price. And you see some of these clothing items go for auction for endless amounts of money.
No, and these rental fees are no joke. I mean, we're talking about like $50,000 for one piece of clothing. So obviously things get forgotten, but when you're talking about, and I think the base price they claim it's $221,000 of what was either late, rental late fees or items that are missing, and then there's additional damages. But we have other clients working with this company, Lady Gaga, Kim Kardashian, Pharrell.
Yeah.
I mean, so they have a reputation to uphold.
And I mean, and it just that's exactly it. They really do not have to make an example of Kanye West or anything like that, but they definitely need to get their money. That's their whole business and their livelihood. They spend a lot of time to make sure that these things go out to the right people. They're probably very careful on who even wears their clothes and just how they're treated. And Kanye is a big fashion guy, and so I would say that you would think that he would want to show that kind of respect because he's all about high fashion. He's all about this stuff. So. But you see that a lot, I saw a commercial, more and more commercials and ads to me in Facebook about just like kind of renting clothes and clothes rental services, which I think is kind of interesting. It's kind of like when rappers rent cars and, rent jewels and stuff for their music videos or, whatever it is. But
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting business model, though, for sure.
Yeah, Kanye's got a lot of lawsuits. If you guys go back, we're touching on Kanye almost every show because he has so many lawsuits against him right now for sampling without clearance.
Kanye is very
clothes,
active,
apparently.
but I always feel like, and every Kanye story I have to say, I love Kanye. So I let a lot slide. So let's go.
All right, moving on. Lewis Black sues Pandora for $10 million over copyright infringement. This is a super interesting story. Let me tell you what. So he's one of, the latest star comedians who is pursuing legal action, and he's saying it's kind of this argument similar to what we do for musicians, right? So when music is streamed, you get paid for two things. You get paid for the recorded version that is streamed, but then the composers, right, the publishing gets paid as well. And so they're saying that, the comedians should get paid for the writing portion. Just because, let's say, a studio might own the final clip, the final recorded version, the writers, the comedians wrote the jokes, right? So
Correct.
if musicians get to get paid for the writing of the song, why don't and it's a very interesting, and Pandora is pushing back and they're like, no, that's not how it is.
Of course
Which is
they
true.
are. They don't
That's
wanna-
not quite industry standard.
Of course they're saying that because they don't want to give up. No company wants to give up money. Anytime anything is brought to your attention, they're gonna they're gonna push back on anything. But when you kind of just say it just plainly like that, you're kind of like, well, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, he's a writer. Why isn't he getting a writing credit? Why is it treated differently? I mean, it's just kind of like everything that you see in the music business as far as industry standard, and things go how they are until somebody changes them, and they don't go that way anymore. They're not it's deals are negotiated differently. You know what I mean? Like if that just tells me that there has just been, decades of this kind of thing going on as far as in the music industry,
Yeah.
probably that went unnoticed, that nobody said, well, why are you getting paid and I'm not? And like now the labels and the streaming services or whoever's doing it is like, oh no, he found out who told him. Oh, we had a good run, guys.
That's always where this starts, right? So even all these lawsuits against, Spotify, for example, in the last couple of years to make sure that artists were getting paid what was due and owing, and Apple Music. I mean, they're massive lawsuits, but it usually starts with these initial questions. So this is not the only one, right? There are several other lawsuits that are or have been filed against Pandora seeking back pay in the millions of dollars. And so, I don't know if Pandora is just going to be, it makes more sense to quickly settle this quietly, but it sounds like they're pushing, they're fighting it.
I think, pardon the pun, but I think he's opened Pandora's box because he just made everybody else kind of thinking, and you might end up finding yourself with a giant lawsuit of just everybody going, yeah. And it's going to be like, it could be something that could really shake things up based on kind of what they do. But I'm always one of these guys that I don't think that writers and creatives get enough shine as far as half of what it is, because the money really is pretty small when you think about how much money that some of these products can generate. And so like all you're kind of left with is shine. And if you can't even get your shine on or get your due and credit, like you notice, like in award shows and stuff, a lot of the writer awards and, all these kind of things, and screenplay writers and stuff like that, they're done before the show even starts. And they're just kind of told, oh yeah, earlier there was the screenwriter had this award. And I'm telling you, they're the ones that are doing it. And I like to see that, over the last 20 years, producers have kind of gotten more of a shine, and now producers are just kind of more of a household name as much as they are as the artists that they produce. So I like that, but I think that writers, what in any medium, comedy, television, movies, I think they should get more shine because they're writing these stories.
100%. All right, so it is in fact Friday. So do you have any new Friday releases for us?
I do, and I'm going to go real quickly on them. It's been a long show, but I do want to hit a couple of interesting releases for me. I go through on my new Music Friday playlist, and I just kind of see what came out, and I picked a couple of things I listened to today. Yuna, who is like an R&B / trip hop artist. She's from Malaysia. I have listened to her for a long time now. I first got introduced to her from, Pharrell as a producer that produced her. But she's also worked with Usher. And she has a new EP that's out, and she's marketing this kind of differently. Now, she just got off her label, and now she's releasing everything independently. And she's doing a 5-part EP series. And now she just released today Y3, which is the 3 of 5 EPs. And it is fantastic. There's 3 songs on this thing. It's Summer Love is like on repeat right now. It's fantastic. Risk It All and Don't Want to Know. But it's a really exciting, if you like kind of mellow R&B fantastic voice on Yuna. She's really incredible. I highly recommend this 3-songer and going back to the other 2 volumes. But like I said, five-part EP series, which is a creative way to marketing. I remember I was in a rock band and we were going to release our album in 3 parts. Band ended up breaking up in the middle of it. We got like 1.5.
You
But
gotta be careful when you start those series.
when you start those,
you gotta
yeah,
commit.
no. But but I think it's an interesting marketing play because it's a way that you can stretch out your songs. I find it more artists are not really releasing full length albums unless they are, really kind of established. You see a lot more singles coming out and smaller EPs, which I think is also kind of fun. Just keep the music coming at a more regular basis instead of waiting for whole projects like once a year. Kind of helps it spread it out. Anyway, really good. I'm going to cover this one really quick, and I'm going to save my best for last. Bring Me the Horizon just released a new song called Strangers. I listened to it today. It kind of sounds like, so I like Bring Me the Horizon. So I've seen them a couple of times now. Over the years, they started off as being kind of like more hardcore metal, and over the years they've just kind of gone more and more pop and more and more pop and like kind of mainstream. And I think it's kind of cool. I get it. Like they want to appeal to a broader audience. They want to have more crossover. At some point, it's just, I think they're going to be like kind of like a Panic at the Disco where they kind of started out or where they kind of ended up. But I actually thought that it sounded very emo. I thought that the song sounded very much like the Used. So think of like the Used, how they kind of structure their songs like later on, where they're very kind of like pop and a little bit of like electronics and stuff like that there. The song was pretty cool. It was okay, but just the main thing I'm picking, they just seem to be getting poppier and poppier throughout from where they started. I wasn't riding with them from the beginning, but since like 2013 was the Sepenternal record, whatever, that record was phenomenal. I saw them like twice on that tour. It was so heavy and just so good. But the song is okay, but you're probably have already checked out if you liked of that band, if you liked more of the metal stuff. And then, last but not least, I want to cover Brent Faiyaz's new Wasteland album. Brent Faiyaz, R&B sensation. On this album, he has features from Alicia Keys, Tyler the Creator, Pharrell and Chad from as the Neptunes, and Drake.
Wow.
This album is a concept record. It is the songs on it are very good. It's an R&B record. His voice and the production on it is very fire. A lot of the songs are very minimalistic. The song he has with Alicia Keys, I don't even think has a drum on it, but it's so good. And Alicia Keys is not really utilizing her so much as singing, but kind of like rapping. But it's really good. And then there's these really dark interludes that are in it. I'm not going to reveal the whole story.
But like when you say dark, it's dark.
It's dark. It's just basically. I mean, I'll kind of go over a little bit because it is very interesting, and I think it might encourage some people to listen to the record. And the record is just so fire. So the story is kind of like just him. He kind of gets this. He gets this girl pregnant. And they're just kind of the drama that kind of comes with having a new kind of baby mama. But Brent's like out there still partying. He's still messing with other chicks and stuff like that. And just a lot of baby mama drama that goes. And then the story kind of takes a very dark twist with some baby mama with child suicide, murder themes that are just, it was really hard to almost get through and listen to some of these segments because the acting and the drama in it is so real. And when I was listening to it, I called Miss Krystle into the room and I was like, this is crazy. Like this is deep. This is dark on this Brent Faiyaz Wasteland record. But
you guys got your homework for the weekend.
I love it when albums are doing this. Is a full length album. I love it when albums have interludes. Our record, Dangerous Daughters, it was structured very similarly as far as telling a story with a lot of interludes and everything kind of goes into each other. Highly recommend the songs. Gravity with Tyler the Creator, Price of Fame, The Ghetto Gatsby with Alicia Keys, Dead Men Walking, and Addictions. And really phenomenal record. I literally, while I was getting ready for the show, I probably listened to the whole thing 3 times through. So Brent Faiyaz, Wasteland, those are my new music picks for this week. And I want to remind all you artists out there that, we will be doing artist review segments coming up very soon. If you'll make sure that you are subscribed to Top Music Attorney on Instagram and on all the other social media platforms, we'll let you know the email address where you can submit your artist submissions. We're going to get you on the screen.
We're going to be doing that here pretty soon. And then, like you're saying, follow on social media. Like I was mentioning at the beginning, it looks like we're going to hit 140K probably over the weekend.
Beautiful.
So follow on Miss Krystle and then Top Music
Beautiful.
Attorney as well. So that Orko, thank you very much for doing the segment. Guys, we're going to hit you with one more video. I think we're doing Entombed by Deftones, which was a cover that we did not too long ago, and it's definitely one of my favorites. So I thought we'd do it to close the show tonight. We'll be in the chat. Be sure to say hi, and everyone have an amazing weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday.
Thanks for all the birthday wishes, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Right.
I see you guys in
We'll
the
be
chat.
back on Tuesday at 7 p.m. PST, and we'll still be in birthday week for that Orko, so we'll be talking about it then, I'm sure.
Awesome. All right. Watch our Deftones Entombed cover. Have a great weekend, everybody.
From the day you arrived, I've remained by your side.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. My new album, Dangerous Daughters, is now available on all music platforms, and I'll be sure to link it for you down in the description below.